Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. We have a very simple project again. This one is going to be just in time for Christmas. So about a week or so ago, I shared with you a video on, I think, about 20 things that you could make that are very quick to sew for Christmas. And we're going to add something to that list. So what I've done is made some really quick little key rings or key holders, or put whatever you like on there, in two different sizes using two different size swivel clips. Two of these products are stabilized and one are not. Now I don't remember which ones. And the other one is a little bookmark. This has just got a decorative ribbon on the front of it. You could use some beads, have that sticking out as well. So that will fit inside your book like that, and you could have that sticking out on the front. So very simple projects. We're going to make all three of them in this video, so you've got a few different options to choose from. Let's get straight to it. This is all we're going to need for each of those three things that I've shown you already. For the smaller one, we've got the smallest swivel clip and my fabric piece. I'll have the materials list up on the screen in a moment for all three of these. This one here, I'll be doing the same product using a wider fabric and a little bit longer. And I'll also be using some stabilizer with this one as well, just because it's a little bit wider in width for the fabric, and it'll give us a little bit more body as well. This one here won't need it. And then this one here is going to be the bookmarks. So I've got a piece for that of fabric, and then just a piece of ribbon for that as well. And I'll also be stabilizing this as well. So the stabilizer I'm using has a few different names. This is a really old packet from the 70s, I think. It's called hemming tape. So it's an iron-on tape. It's fusible on both sides. So when you iron this onto fabric, you do actually need to cover it, because otherwise you will get the sticky residue on your iron. So it's called stitch witchery in some countries, or a double-sided fusible tape, or a hemming tape. You don't have to use it. So let's do the ones with the swivel clips first. I'll go and get my iron. And this was the one I was going to use first. Now, this construction for all three of these is going to be almost the same. We'll fold this in half, and then you'll fold the raw edges into the centre. And then we'll fold that back in half again to hide all of those raw edges. And then we can just open that out and fold it in half. And just iron the end bit just to set a crease there. And leave it like that. So we've got both raw edges folded in again, iron the whole thing, and then fold it in half and press it. So I'm going to do the same with all of these, but the next two will be slightly different. I'll fold that in half to find the crease for the centre. I'll do the same with the raw edges. I'll fold those in. And iron it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just cooling this down a bit, is take this stuff here and place that over the top of the fabric in the centre. So I'm putting this right next to this folded edge along this side. If you want double the amount of stability, you can put one strip here and one strip on the other side, but we really don't need it. These don't need to be too heavy. So this strip will go right along here. It'll run along the center seam. It doesn't matter if it overlaps a little. So we'll bring that folded edge back over again, and this one, and we'll iron that one more time. So we now have that stabilizer fused to the inside, which will keep this side stuck down. Fold this one in half, and we can just iron the bottom end, set that aside, and I'll do the same for this one. And the reason I have to cool this fabric down is because this will melt straight away with the heat from the fabric. Okay, so far we've folded all of our strips into a quarter of the size that it was, folded the edges back in and folded this in half and pressed it. So that's the stage we're at now. What we want to do now is take this to the machine and stitch along the centre of each of those. So just open that fold out again and sew right along the centre, and you'll be sewing with all of these 4 layers together. Let's go do that. So I've marked the centre with a bit of chalk there so that you can see. And we'll just sew straight across all of those. Okay, so we've sewn the centre of all of these. Let's grab, which is the skinniest one? This one. Okay. So we can open out that fold, and you've got that stitched in the centre there. Where the stitching is, you just want to bring that out into a point across here, and you can clip that together just to hold it in place. Then we're going to get one of our swivel clips. Now, I had the wrong one before. This isn't the right size, so I've gone up a size, and you'll have the right size in the instructions. So we're going to put that through the fabric on one side. Then you'll bring the back around to the front. So we've got the 2 layers like this faced together. Just bring the back piece around to the front and have the right sides facing each other, and then you can open out that fabric and we can sew across there, and that will have the D-ring secure, or the swivel clip secured in place. This one here is going to be the same. It's just going to be a little bit longer and using a wider D-ring because it's a wider fabric. So you'll do the same thing with your point. Once you're happy with the way it's sitting, we'll pop a clip in the end there. And this one is going to have the swivel clip on it, so it's the larger one. And we'll do the same again. So just bring that around to the front. You can open the seams. If they don't open because you've got that fusible stabilizer, it actually doesn't matter. You can just sew straight across the top. So one side's not going to open up for me, so I'll just leave it like that. The raw edges will be hidden when we stitch across. And this one here is going to be the little bookmark. Once again, we've got the stitched edge across here. Just bring those edges together and line them up so that you get a really nice triangle shape. And with this one, instead of putting a swivel clip, we're going to grab our ribbon. So I've got one length of ribbon here. I fold that in half, and the folded edge is going to sit over the raw edge. line that up in the centre, and then we'll bring that piece of fabric around to the front and clip that together. And then we'll sew straight across there, and across there for all of them. See, with the ribbon you want the raw edge outside. So this one here has all of the folded edges opened out because there was no stabiliser on it. So all you need to do is sew straight across. I'm using a 1 centimetre or 3/8 inch seam allowance, and because I'm a nutcase sometimes I forgot to hit record. So let's just pretend like we haven't sewn it already and I'll stitch right across. So that's all I've had to do is 1 centimetre seam allowance to close up that little tube. For the other two, same thing, the folded edges are in already because they've been stabilised. We've got the raw edge at the top, and I've just sewn straight across for that one, and I've done the same for this one as well. Okay, so there's not much left to go. This is the one that's got the ribbon on it. Turn the fabric the right way out. You've got your ribbon dangling out on the end there. I have cut this ribbon longer than I needed, but it's always better to have a little bit extra, then you can see what you want. So all I've done here is folded the fabric back under with the seam tucked in underneath. And we've got the edge of the triangle lined up down there. And all we need to do now is take this back to the machine and top stitch all the way around all the edges. And you can decide at this point how long you want this ribbon to be. I don't think I want it longer than the bookmark, but I might have 2 different lengths. So I'll chop off a bit here and I'll chop off a bit more on the other one, and then I'll fold the ribbon in half. So I've got the open edge on this side and the fold at the top. I'm going to make a small nick from this corner up on the diagonal to just have that little cutout on the ribbon, and that will help prevent the ribbon from fraying. You can put some fray check on there if you like. Do the same for the other one. So that just adds a little decorative feature to the ribbon. And then you want to decide if you just want to leave that tail hanging. Now if you had it beaded or sequined, you would probably want to leave it like that. You can fold this down and top stitch it at the same time that you're top stitching the rest of the bookmark, and then you would have this just sitting along the centre. And I kind of think I like that better than sticking out. Yeah, I think I do. So I'll fold that over and top stitch that in place at the same time. So I'll go down here, around the point, up and across. For the other two with the swivel clips, I'll fold this open, then we'll fold these edges over. So this is the one that doesn't have any stabiliser, so it is a lot easier to fold those edges over and have it neater. And then we can just bring those edges together at the top and turn everything the right way out. Grab that swivel clip and move it on up to where that seam line is. And just clip all of those edges together just to neaten it up and hold it in place. With this one, we're going to sew right beside the end of the swivel clip there, down, across and down again, and up again. And this one has a swivel clip as well, so we'll just, and this one has the stabilised edges, so you can just bring those edges together line it up at the top there. Find your swivel clip and bring it up, and you can start lining up all of these edges just like we did with the other one. Bring that swivel clip all the way up to the top, and we can sew all the way around that one as well, and then we'll be finished. Let's do the little one first. Start at the top where the D-ring is. It doesn't really matter where you start. Sew across that. And down the long edge. And sew into the point. And out of it. And back up again. And across to finish up. That's our first one finished. Let's do the other two. So this is the one that's going to be the bookmark, and I've opted to have my ribbon folded down. And that one's done, and this is the last one. So there we have it. We have our bookmark finished and a couple of little key holders, and we just want to get rid of those creases in the centre as well as we can. So the little key holders in both sizes with 2 different size swivel clips are an ideal quick little gift, and so is this little bookmark. Whether you have the ribbon or dangly bit sticking out or face down, it's up to you, but you can just pop your bookmark inside there and that'll just sit nicely over your book. There we go. Too easy, right? So what did you think of that project? It was very easy. So we have a key holder here and another one here. So if you want the smaller one instead, then you can pop your keys over a smaller keyring holder. It's probably something I would go for rather than the long one, but yeah, you can do it either way. So this one is the one that doesn't have any stabilizer in it at all because I used a smaller swivel clip. I had actually planned on using an even smaller one, but I made a mistake, as I usually do. And this one is using a bigger D-ring and it has the stabilizer inside it. And then we have this one here, which is the little bookmark. As I said, I've opted for folding that over, and I'm glad I did actually, because it means that I can put my bookmark on the inside, and then I've just got this nice decorative feature sticking out over the top. So that is it for now. And oh, you wouldn't believe the amount of mistakes I've made in this. At every step of the way I did something wrong and had to unpick it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.